Hello everyone, it's Jeff again, and I am coming to you today from the Kansas prairie, and I would like to tell you a story about when I was little. From the Kansas prairie, I would like to take you to a crypt in Stanislaus County, California, and I would like to introduce you to this man right here. Carl Wesley Thompson was my much-loved uncle, who came every year in October. His birthday was in October, and would stay with us until usually right around the first of the year. And one of the things that he did that he loved very much was telling stories. He was very good at telling stories. And when I was a child, I loved listening to the stories that he would tell. And one of my all-time favorite stories that he would tell took place on the Kansas prairie, which is where I'm at today. My favorite story was kind of based on fact, but it was mostly a folklore story, and it was the story of Windwagon Smith. The tale is based on a story with some plausible elements of an incident that happened in Westport, Missouri in 1853 during America's westward migration. In some versions of the Windwagon Smith saga, he came sweeping into town in his wind-powered Conestoga wagon, complete and working. And in other versions of the story, he came to town a penniless vagrant and built the craft in town, gathered up a group of passengers, and left only to have his craft crash. But all the while, his passengers were complaining of seasickness. Contemporary news accounts have at least 3 real-life inventors of land-sailing wind-powered wagons in that era. According to the December 1846 issue of the Independence, Missouri newspaper, the first man was named William Thomas. Thomas later showed a prototype with oversized wheels to the U.S. Army at Fort Leavenworth and formed an overland navigation company. According to Frank Leslie's illustrated newspaper, another account involves Oskaloosa, a small craft built by a sawmill owner, Samuel Papard, who is said to have invented a sailing wagon in 1860 with at least partial success, according to the magazine. Its descriptions tell the tale of it arriving at Fort Kearny, Nebraska, a 250-mile journey. The part that seems to have been lost in history is whether the legend of Windwagon Smith predates people actually trying to build a wind wagon, or whether people tried to build a wind wagon because of the legend of Windwagon Smith. That part seems to have been lost in history. But there was successes. One particular group of people took a wind wagon westward from Fort Kearny, Nebraska to Denver, Colorado in 20 days, powered by nothing but wind. It is my firmest belief that part of the problems that we're having in the world today is people do not take the time to tell their children the old stories, the old folklore stories, like Paul Bunyan and Babe the Big Blue Ox and Casey Jones and all the other stories that I grew up absolutely loving. We have come full circle, back to the prairies of Kansas. The next story that I would like to tell you is another one of my absolute favorites that Carl used to tell. He would say, "Have you seen the camels? The camels out in the desert, down by Jerome, Arizona, and Barstow, California? Yes, I have seen the camels. I will tell you the story of the camels in the American Southwest on my next adventure. Remember, everyone, be good to each other, do good deeds, think good thoughts, and I will see you again."